Chair recognizes Ms. Morrison from Minnesota.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank the witnesses for being here today, especially you, Governor Walz. It's great to see you as ever. Welcome back to the People's House. Thank you for your distinguished service in the National Guard, 24 years, I believe. Thank you for your service here in Congress and as our governor. I'm sorry you haven't received the warmest welcome here today, but I'd like to start by taking a moment to correct the record on a few points. I think all of us here would agree that violent criminals who aren't citizens shouldn't be in this country, full stop. But that's not what this hearing is about. This hearing is about intimidation and striking fear in immigrant communities. This hearing, unfortunately, is not about moving forward with the comprehensive immigration reform our country so desperately needs. It's about distracting the American people from the disaster that has been the first few months of the Trump administration and his Republican majority in Congress. Much like our state, my congressional district is diverse. I represent many immigrant families who call our community home, and we welcome them because they make our community stronger. I recently had the honor of attending a naturalization ceremony where we welcomed new Americans from 85 different countries. It was an incredibly moving day, an auditorium full of new Americans who were so excited and proud to join our great American project. The room was full of hope and patriotism. I could not have been more proud to welcome them and to participate in that day. We are a country of immigrants. It is what makes us strong and dynamic and unique in the world. My colleague's characterization of our state bears no resemblance to reality. Would you agree, sir? Minnesota is an incredible state with a wealth of business, industry, natural resources, beauty, and rich diversity. And it's a state where working families thrive. As you know, Governor, we worked together for 6 years when I was in the state legislature, and I am so proud of what we accomplished during that time. We delivered for the people of Minnesota the largest middle-class tax cut in the history of our state, historic investments in education, created a paid family and medical leave programs that allows working parents to care for their children and their loved ones, codifying the right to comprehensive reproductive health care, and providing school breakfast and lunches for K through 12 students so no child in Minnesota goes hungry. If we want to talk about protecting our children and families, let's talk about the chaotic tariff war President Trump started, which is serving only to make life less affordable for families and is decimating small businesses. Let's talk about the 16 million people who are going to lose their health care, or who are going to have their health care taken away from them by the Republicans and their ridiculously named Big Beautiful Bill. Let's talk about the millions of children who will go hungry if the Republicans are successful in taking away their food assistance. Governor Walz, since my Republican colleagues want to talk about threats to our children and families, let's talk about food insecurity. It's now been over 2 years since you signed the school meals legislation into law. What has been the impact of this program on fighting child hunger in Minnesota?
Yeah, well, thank you, Congresswoman, and we miss you in Minnesota, but glad you're here. Well, the direct impact to families is a savings of about $1,700 a year to those families that they're able to see, and mostly middle class. But the real impact is on educational achievement. Last year, Minnesota was able to notch the highest graduation rates in our state history. We also see school attendance rates go up. We see better behaviors, less discipline from it. So it's a smart investment. It's the right thing to do. And the payoff for Minnesota is we have a healthier, better educated workforce, which is why Minnesota almost always ranks near the top in quality of life indicators.
Thank you, Governor. Now I want to talk more about the Republican plan to take food assistance away from our children and families. If their budget becomes law, it will be the biggest cut to SNAP in history and jeopardize food assistance for millions of families across the country, including 100,000 Minnesotans, many of whom are children. Would you agree that the Republican proposal to cut SNAP is one of the biggest threats facing children and families in Minnesota right now?
Yes, coupled with Medicaid and Medicare cuts.
And also, Governor Walz, I just want to give you a moment to, if there's anything you'd like to clarify that's been said in this unbelievable committee hearing today. I don't even know what the adjective is.
Well, thank you, Congresswoman. And we have like 30 seconds. Look, we're here to work with you. You've heard time and time again. We have a job to do as governors. The federal government has a job to do. Not doing ICE's job is not interference or not wanting to get these people. And the gentleman asked the question and then left. The gentleman he brought up with, we held him, we paid for it, we called DHS before he was released. The second one he mentioned, DOC called DHS prior to his release. We do that every single time in Minnesota. That law has been on the books for many years, and that's how we implement it. So I just don't understand why we don't want to work together to be successful. None of us want the criminals on the street, but I certainly want immigrants in Minnesota who are contributing to our quality of life.
Gentlelady's time's expired.
Thank you, Governor.
Chair recognizes